It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
And LJ. Today and every week we will be discussing musicals, but specifically what they taught us.
I don't know how today's episode's going to go. We've just spent the last half an hour insulting each other and giving off.
Just our usual chatter.
And picking at our faults.
No, you picking up my faults.
Well, you have more than I do. So, shall we tell the listeners what you did?
What do you mean? What did I do?
Well, we were testing the mic levels before we started. Aaron, our EP, what would we do without Aaron? He's joined us for today's episode. I'm such a laggard.
I know. Oh, what would we do without him? He needs to edit about half an hour.
And we were testing our levels just to make sure we were okay. And I do it properly, and then Lauren is half-assed into the microphone. I can't even remember what part. What do you say in the intro? I only think about what I say.
LJ.
And I was like, was that okay? And Aaron was like, no, because she hardly were speaking. She was like, oh, it was just a test. And I'm like, what have we been taught in the theatre? Lauren, what have we been taught in the theatre?
To treat everything like a performance.
Yes. What's the point in checking your mics if you're only doing half? How are you getting a true level? Sorry. I just felt you needed named and shamed, to be quite honest with you. I'm quite disappointed.
And then you said that you needed time to read your notes and you called me a big slobber.
Cheeky big slobber.
Cheeky big slobber.
Let's get it right. Yeah, because I do have a bit of a habit. Just as we're about to go, I'm like, oh, no, wait a wee minute. Let me just read my notes. But actually, I've read my notes today.
Came prepared.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey!
Hi, nice to see you. How are you doing today?
Good.
We actually do love each other, though, and we get on so well.
I know.
It just keeps us on our toes, just pulling each other's faults out and bringing them to the forefront.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd be able to operate if we were all sweet
nice to
and
each
nice
other
all the time. I don't think we've ever been like that.
Have we ever been sweetness and light?
No.
Ever? Even from the tender age of...
5.
5?
No. I think I would be concerned for my own health if you started to be super duper nice to me. Do you know as in that
Now let's make it really clear for the listeners that have never met us and don't know us. We are lovely people.
Oh no, I don't. I just mean if you were okay and really listened and really I'd be like, I must be dying.
But there's also a fakeness. People who do that, that's fakery to the max. Anyway, that's not tangent today.
No,
we're talking about
not play with the wire this week, please.
Sorry, I was just playing with that wire there, but not with my foot, so it's okay.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I am not going to kick any equipment over. I just had that brain delay thing again. I haven't had that for a while, have I?
You're back working. So it's a tired brain.
Oh, you're if we're talking about tired, I am so tired.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, we're not going to talk. No one cares. Okay, we'll just move on.
Okay. What are we moving on to? Moving on to theatre news?
The future.
We're moving on to
the future. We're moving into the future. Oh. We're leaving the past
behind. What could we possibly be talking about?
I feel like there's a song somewhere.
I've got no future.
I hope I do. Yeah, what are we talking about?
Back to the Future. Yeah, the musical.
You needed to introduce that there because I actually feel a wee bit on edge.
Why?
Tonight. Because I'm sitting in a room with two really big fans of Back to the Future, the film.
Well, I mean, two is a stretch.
What? Well,
I like it, but I mean, really big fans is
you
number
get
one.
on you're just as the walking encyclopedia, like Aaron.
No, I do not.
You do?
Okay,
You were
maybe
getting all
compared
his
to you.
references and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I was like,
because I've seen the film more than once. We've been together 20
But
years.
I've seen the film once.
Yeah, okay.
And I only watched the film after I went to see the musical.
I know.
So I've seen the musical more times than I've seen the film, because I've seen Back to the Future, the musical, 4 times.
And I was going to ask you, is that the most you have seen a musical?
Absolutely not. I think Half a Sixpence, the new version, that who did the Styles and Drew did the music.
Oh, yeah.
Or did the additional music. I think I saw that about 6-7 times.
Oh, really?
Oh my goodness, yeah, I was obsessed.
But Back to the Future then has to be one of, like, in your top 5 that you've seen the most for being a new musical.
Yeah, I suppose probably, yeah. Yeah. And in London, like all in the same
Yes.
place.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah, you're right, because there's loads of shows you've seen numerous times, but like on touring venues or, you know, in your local theatre or an amateur production of it. But yeah, actually, Back to the Future I've only seen in the Adelphi Theatre in the West End. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah.
And it is one of those musicals that when people are saying, oh, what should we go and see? Or like, it's always on the tip of my tongue, because I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
I went the first time going, I don't think I'm going to like this. Just because I'd never seen the film. I'm worried I am going to be evicted from your house tonight. But you see that kind of film and sci-fi and like future-y, scientific kind of. I'm all tits and teeth. Like, give me a you know, something like that.
Rather than so
geeky.
you don't like any time travel-y stuff?
I don't get it.
Okay, so Aaron is obsessed with time
Yeah,
travel.
exactly. So I'm like going, I'm sitting in a room with a real like professional in this genre.
I would like to also state that
Here we go.
whilst I like time travel movies, I am also a fan of tits and teeth. I'm not entirely sure of the application. Certainly one more than the other. But, yeah.
Aaron, behave yourself. This is a PG podcast.
Yeah, 2 things I really like: time travel movies and like vampire movies. Back to the Future ticks one of those boxes. But as we go through the musical and discuss the musical movie, we'll find out which one it hits.
Yeah. So vampire movies.
Oh yeah, he loves a good vampire.
Maybe we need to find a vampire musical then to drag
Very
him to the
difficult.
next time.
Have you
Very-
ever seen the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yeah, isn't that where?
Your man is writing a musical about
Dracula.
Yes.
I wish they made that into a musical, because the one bit that they wrote, the one song that they wrote where he's sitting playing the keyboard.
Yeah,
in the
that's
bar,
good.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
They have tried so many times to do a Dracula musical. It just hasn't quite. But you should maybe just listen to the music and see. But it hasn't quite made it like on stage with a good run. I don't know what it
It's
is.
not hit the mark yet, has
Yeah,
it? They haven't got
no.
it quite right.
And that's high stakes involved, you know.
However, I think they, in my
Hope they didn't get it.
humble opinion, I think they hit the mark with this musical.
Yes.
But we'll maybe get onto it later,
But
will
yes, but first of all, we went to see it on your recommendation because you've
Okay.
been talking about it for ages and
Yeah.
ages and ages. Obviously, you knew how much Aaron liked it, and then we were
As in the film.
as in the film. And we knew we were going to see Mean Girls, which we obviously discussed last week, and then we had another night free, and I was like, we can't be in London and not see
Yeah.
Back to the Future. But I knew Aaron would never have booked the tickets because he was a wee bit apprehensive. So I just did it. And then I
Yeah.
was like, we're going to see it. And I think he was pleased that it was out, like that decision was taken out of
Why'd
his
you
hands.
do that?
Yeah. But yeah, we had a great night, but we will talk about it
We'll
more.
get on to
yeah.
we'll get onto it later.
Yeah. So
Right.
what is Back to the Future then? It's based on
I don't know. You tell me.
It's based on the 1985 film by Robert Zemeckis. Is that right, Aaron?
Zemeckis.
Thank you. And Bob Gale. So you might know them.
Is he a relative to Dorothy Gale?
Right, no, Robert, from a couple of other films such as Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Love
Yes.
that movie.
Never seen it.
Death Becomes Her, which musical is
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And it looks like it sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
seen the film, but again, the musical sounds. I've
Yeah.
seen more of the musical version than the actual film.
And Forrest Gump.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
The music and lyrics of the musical are by Alan Silvestri and Glenn Ballard. With original, there is original music which is from the film, including 4 songs that were in the film. Glenn Ballard and Alan Silvestri also co-wrote Jagged Little Pill, which is Alanis Morissette's
musical
95 album.
And then
I love that album.
I was listening to it this morning. I did not know that.
Yeah, love that album. And also,
and then they made they made the Alanis Morissette. Well, no, it's not biographical, is it?
No,
it's just a musical, but it's all
got
of her.
Yeah.
It's that album.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Book is by Bob Gale. And music, as we know, particularly some of the songs from the film, are by Huey Lewis and the News. And they currently have 2 musicals on in Broadway. Back to the Future and their musical The Heart of Rock and Roll, which is a 2024 musical.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Isn't
You've just said that, and literally I was scrolling on, what's that thing called? Can I say it? Spotify. Yesterday, and it came up because I actually found somebody's playlist of like 2024, 25 Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
And there's a few actually new musical cast recordings that I didn't realize were a thing. And that was one of them. So I now have new listening to
Love
go
it.
away and listen to, yeah. You said 4 of the original songs from the movie were in the musical. Name them.
Why don't we get Aaron to name them?
Yes, this is what I wanted you to say.
What I have to...
So the songs that were in the musical that were in the film. There's 4 of them that were in the film and they put into the musical.
Power of Love by Huey Lewis.
Power of Love.
Yeah.
It's a curious thing.
Back in Time by Huey Lewis and the News.
Yes.
Back to the Future Overture by Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, and one more. You know what?
Oh, I actually just thought of a song that wasn't in the musical. It should have been in it.
Ooh.
Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry.
Yeah, well, the overture's not actually included, but yes.
We'll take the over to Earth Angel.
Earth Angel.
Yeah.
By Marvin and Starlighters.
And you said that there was a song that they didn't put into the musical and they should have?
Yes, it's
What?
just dawned on me.
Sorry.
Mr. Sandman.
Oh, okay.
Because it plays whenever Marty walks into Hill Valley in 1955.
But it's played when Mr. Sandman's played in the interval.
Oh.
Yes, we were sitting there.
Perhaps I was in the bathroom.
Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, it's played in the interval. There's loads of songs which are played in the interval.
That's really cool. So obviously it's things like that went completely over my head, because I didn't get the references as such. So that's really cool.
Right, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting as well with Huey Lewis and the News, they're no strangers to chart success. They released 37 singles, 12 of which made it in the top 10.
Oh.
Something tells me Aaron's done a wee bit of planning himself for this episode.
Love
I'm
it.
so impressed.
So it does. The
And
musical,
your mic technique's excellent, by the way.
Hopefully it works out okay.
So the musical follows a similar plot to the film. Marty McFly is a teenager and he witnesses his friend, the Doc, invent a time machine from a DeLorean. But in the musical, Doc is killed from radiation poisoning. Marty is accidentally then transported to 1955, which is 30 years from that date. So the musical is set in 1985.
Anybody confused yet? No?
Along the
Okay.
way, he interferes with the meet cute. Isn't that how you say it? The meet cute? Like the meet cute? Like the meeting? Oh, but anyway, with the meeting for his parents, and he must figure out a way, with the help of a younger Doc, how to get his parents together, so that he can get back to 1985. Did I do okay, Aaron? Did I do okay?
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Love the catchy tunes and insightful discussions on Musical Lyrical Lingo? Why would you not? Now you can reap your fandom. Ooh, we've got fans. And show off your love of all things musical theatre with our exclusive merchandise. Ooh.
From comfy tees,
T-shirts,
mugs to stylish tote bags, we have something for every fan. Our designs are inspired by the show's iconic themes.
because we are so iconic.
And featured playful quotes, alpha, and graphics that will have you humming along
I will never work again.
wherever you go.
So head over to our merch store now and start shopping. Spend your money, people. And don't forget to share your pics on our social media using hashtag podcast Musical Lyrical Lingo merch. We love to see our fans rocking our gear.
Yes, we do. Happy shopping.
He's got a few notes. He's sitting with a file pad and a pen.
It's based on Bob Gale's own experience. He wrote it.
You went back in
Of time travel?
Absolutely. Did you not do your research?
What?
Bob Gale opened up his dad's school, what do you call those, yearbook.
Oh.
And seen a picture of his dad at the age of 17. And in doing so, he looked at it and thought, would I be friends with my dad at that age? Which started this whole thought process. So Marty McFly goes back to 1955, and in doing so, it's like a butterfly effect. He changes history by interacting. He meets his father, George McFly. He meets his mother, Lorraine Baines. And in doing so, he interrupts how, as Lauren said, how they meet each other. But his mum falls in love with him.
Yeah.
Which becomes problematic, as I'm sure you could figure out. So the process is he has to get them to fall in love again in order to make it back to the future.
Love it. Love it.
That was good.
Disney actually rejected the film on the grounds because it was too incestuous.
Oh.
Too much incest.
Oh, really?
And then I think Universal initially rejected it because they felt it was too sweet.
Oh.
So, there's a moral grey area there, perhaps, and I don't know who's wrong.
Yeah.
But yes, you did excellent.
Okay.
Yes, well done.
So I'll say it now. There's a few changes from the film to the musical.
Really?
And you would only notice that if you're sitting with a real diehard fan.
Which you were.
Which I was.
Listen, did you get nudged every 20 seconds?
So I have to admit, I was really on edge for like maybe the first 20 minutes because I kept looking at him and I couldn't tell if he was enjoying it. And then whenever Doc dies, I knew that obviously doesn't happen in the film the way it happens. I was like, ugh, that's not in the film. And then he said
Did
something
you hear
else.
that?
Yeah, and then there was something else and he was like, that's not in the film. Well, I was like, oh, okay. And then he relaxed into it and we were all good. So
just those small points,
just
Aaron.
those small points. But you did admit at the end, it worked for the musical. Yes?
It's a different time.
Okay.
The film was made for 1985. Doc being shot by Libyans after making a bomb for them, as he does in the film, doesn't really translate today. We don't have the same US-Libya tensions that we had then with Gaddafi and all that sort of stuff. So for it to change to a radiation leak, I thought it was, hand on heart, I thought it was a wee bit cheesy. I thought it was maybe lacked a bit of creativity and how they came up with that. But I understood fully why they did it. There's quite a lot of changes. There's quite a lot of things. There's a lot of things that were left out and perhaps wouldn't add anything of value to the musical.
Hence, it didn't make it in.
Yeah.
Yes, but there's certain things that
Oh dear.
that were that helped make the movie and make the movie were very memorable in the film that were left out. But hand on heart, first 20 minutes, as Lauren said, she was on tenterhooks. When we went in, I was not expecting. I was apprehensive myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are they going to do here? I joked earlier that I appreciate tits and teeth. I find musicals, as you guys well know, it can be quite cheesy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always land with me. And whenever it started, the first couple of songs, first 3 songs of Back to the Future, felt like they'd been shoehorned in. And I was like, oh, the one about I've got no future, and the song before that was about how, he's looking to his future or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of them like, this isn't landing with me, and it was all real cheesy and punch in the air, and, I was like, oh my goodness. See, once I got to the fourth song, I was like, okay, now we're finding a groove. I was like, now I see why it's a song, and I completely get it.
What was the fourth song? Do you remember?
I think you don't mind the one where he's singing about his dad, like my dad is like a loser,
The
and
one in the kitchen.
the one in the kitchen. You were sort of introducing
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the characters. So from then, but really, what you liked Doc's song, it's a time machine. That one. But really, from like Goldie, whenever you're already back in Hill Valley in 1955, and from Goldie's song, I think he was right into the musical then. Staged by it, and I would agree with him. The song between Marty and Jennifer I don't think is needed. I think just a good wee acting scene probably would be enough, but obviously
Then she wouldn't get a wee song.
No, I know, but I'm musical through and through, so I did love it. I would personally love to go and see it again, which we certainly will do, because I think I will relax much more from the beginning.
Yeah, you'll also see the first 20 minutes of the show, because you won't be watching Aaron's reactions.
True.
The musical was originally due to premiere in the West End in 2015. However, a change of director delayed the production. The musical did receive its premiere then in Manchester Opera House in February 2020, ahead of its 2021 West End transfer. And it received really positive reviews in London and won the Olivier for Best New Musical in 2022. And it had a whopping 7 nominations, which is a lot of nominations for a brand new show.
It is.
And it then began its previews in Broadway in June and opened in August of 2023, but with only 2 Tony noms and no winner chicken dinners.
No, it's doing really well in Broadway as it is in the West End.
But I thought as a show
too.
it would have been much bigger and much more successful in America than here.
So did I, because it is very American, and it's obviously loved. The movie's loved by Americans too.
Yeah.
But that did surprise me. Did you also know that whenever in the fact that it was meant to open in 2015, it would have actually included them traveling to the future, like they do in the second film, but that's what the new director sort of scrapped.
Yeah, so that Jamie Lloyd, the director Jamie Lloyd, was initially engaged to direct the production, but withdrew in September 2014 after workshops, citing creative differences. And obviously we know Jamie Lloyd recently, because he is the director of Sunset Boulevard, that was a storm in London and is about to open in Broadway. Do you know what the creative differences were over?
No.
Whether Biff should sing. Well, I think that was maybe one of them.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was one of the bigger ones. Biff the Bully. Whether he should actually sing. Aaron, thoughts?
I was actually trying to think. Does he sing? I think he does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I thought that was quite interesting. I mean, I'm sure Jamie Lloyd got over it. I think he's been successful enough, hasn't he? But I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, there's been a North America tour began in June 2024.
Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, I think America should absolutely love it.
That's why I'd be interested to see if this is a bit like the Mean Girls, where it just is on tour all the time. It's just a constant tour of it. It's like, to take that show on tour though is a big undertaking, isn't it? Like, you look at Chitty Chitty Bang Bang UK tour and go, I mean, I think you've got to add on a couple of zeros for Back to the Future, don't you? Absolutely.
And touring that car.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't say car, DeLorean. That was one of my musical lyrical lingos. I had no idea what a DeLorean was.
And you're from Northern Ireland.
What does that mean?
DeLorean was made in Belfast.
Was it? Just like the Titanic?
Have you never been to the Transport Museum?
I mean, as a child. I'm sure,
you are so uneducated.
Thanks. As I said, we like to rip each other apart before building it.
Did you not know what a DeLorean was?
No.
And you didn't know that it was made in Belfast?
I was starting to G before you started going out with me.
Yes.
Lies. I'm telling you now, it's total lies.
No. I knew that was made in Belfast. Because I had been on the Universal tour.
Why is it called a DeLorean?
I don't know that.
Why is it called a DeLorean?
The owner of the company is called John DeLorean.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay. And can I ask, the DeLorean, is that, you know the way
Gullwing?
What?
Gullwing?
The doors, are you about to ask?
Yeah, I was about to ask. You know the way they lift up? Yeah. That is the design of a DeLorean, is it?
Yeah, gull-wing doors, yeah.
Gullwing?
Gull. Seagull wings. Yeah.
Seagull wings.
I said it about 5 minutes ago.
Your diction wasn't great.
My technique was horrendous.
Awful. So what did you learn? Any musical lyrical lingos from you, Lauren?
Yeah, so, hello. Is anybody home?
I thought you were about to sing Adele
No.
there.
No, I'm trying to read my own writing.
She can't read her writing.
Grovels, scrapes, and toes the line. Mm-hmm. So Marty is talking about his dad.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, Marty's mum and dad, let Biff, this bully from school, their time at school, like walk all over them. And, Marty's fed up with like that, how his dad just lets people
his
walk all
dad
over him.
is such a loser, though.
Yeah. So he toes the line. So I was like, wonder where that expression toes the line comes from. So it means to conform, and it people started using it by the 1800s, and also toe the mark or toe the plank.
Oh,
so they think it either came from the British Army or the Navy, or it could have came from pirates.
Yeah. Walk the plank.
Yeah, walk the plank.
Toe the plank,
toe the
or
line,
walk the plank.
Toe the plank. So that was interesting. So that was my first musical lyrical lingo.
You delve into history there.
Yeah.
Very good. I actually didn't have a musical lyrical lingo until It Works. Is that the song you're talking about that you really liked? About
With the doc?
Yeah. It's class.
That's brilliant.
It's a brilliant song. So there were a few things in that I went, oh, that's kind of cool. He sings "It's a Car for the Stars" like Captain Kirk's, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, a nice wee nod to Star Trek.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode of Star Trek in my life, but are you impressed?
I'm very impressed that you knew who that was. Yeah,
to. I know. And then he sings, in terms of the vernacular, "It's spectacular."
That is 1,000%. I have that too. A nod, chitty, chitty, bang, bang.
I know, vernacular being.
Well, I couldn't remember.
The vernacular is ordinary, informal, spoken, everyday language. Just the vernacular, what you would use on a day-to-day basis.
But yeah, I looked at that too and was like, it's a musical about a car. They're definitely doing a wee nod.
1,000%.
To chitty.
And then I love... They sing, Doc sings, "The blunt force trauma when I slipped and hit my head, shook something loose in me, some high fruit in a tree." And I was like, so Doc's likening his eureka moment to the story of Isaac Newton and the apple.
So clever.
Did you know you just made another scientific reference there when you said eureka?
No.
Isn't that what Archimedes was meant to have said in the bathtub whenever he discovered about water displacement? He said, "Eureka, I have it." It means, it's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm so smart, you see, Aaron.
I thought you were making another. I was like at 10.
See, I just pretend not to be interested in science, but actually I'm a total
You're
geek.
just a genius.
Yeah, so that whole... And is that story true, that apparently an apple fell on Isaac Newton's head as he was sitting under a tree, which caused him to discover gravity?
Yes.
No.
What?
It's believed that Isaac Newton witnessed the apple falling from the tree.
But it is the apple falling from the tree that he went, gravity.
What force was causing this? Isaac Newton was fantastic, man. Like a real polymath. He knew something about everything. I think he was the head of the Royal Mint at one stage. Yeah.
Wowzer.
So talk about the visual spectrum and gravity. Isaac Newton was class.
But he got gravity from a falling apple.
Yeah, from a falling apple.
I was like, that can't be true. Yeah. Somebody's made that story up. That's
I
interesting.
always thought that it did fall on his head, but no.
I think that was exaggerated.
Oh, okay.
Kind of the story changed over time, but it's commonly believed that he'd just seen an apple fall.
Oh,
from an apple
okay.
tree.
Okay.
But I like the idea he got hit.
And here's a fun wee show fact. So Doc's blunt force trauma caused him to visualize the flux capacitor, right?
Yeah.
Now, throughout the show, I hope I get brownie points here for this. Throughout the show, Doc pronounces flux capacitor with the stress on the O sound, as in for 4. However, in contrast to Christopher Lloyd, who said it rhymed with diameter. And then there's an extended scene in that follows where Marty insists on saying it with an E, much to Doc's frustration.
Oh.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Thank you and good night. I've done my bit. I'm away. Enjoy yourself.
That's good.
But that's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that is cool. Nice.
Clever writing for the musical, isn't it? Like,
yeah, there's definitely a lot of lines which, if you know the film, you sort of maybe knew what was coming next, and it was great. A bit like for me, I felt Mean Girls, where there's some really iconic lines. You wanted to hear them and you were waiting for them. So how did you feel, Aaron, whenever you heard those lines? Like, make like a tree and get out of here.
Yeah, as the dialogue, spoken dialogue, I knew I knew where it was going. I knew what phrases were coming up. I knew what was going to be said before it was said. There was obviously things left out that, I was also aware of. The lines within the song, yes, I like all those wee hidden references. I love things like that, if you're in the know, you get it. If you don't, it's still a good song. It doesn't impact on it. I did find there's one of them, Marty singing, and he talks about going to the future, hit the turbo booster or something like that. And I thought to myself, look, that's a bit naff, a bit lazy writing. And there's two things like that, hit the turbo booster. And I was like, what was that?
He even knows the tune, Lauren. This is
I don't know
impressive.
if that was that right?
That was right.
Yeah.
And in tune.
Yeah.
No, but we had it's played around the house,
Okay.
which is nice.
It's a new one. Even the songs I don't like,
Yeah.
I find myself singing them.
Oh, wow.
The ones, I say the ones I don't like, the ones before I got into the groove that
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate.
Yeah.
I don't think they were necessary. They're damn earworms. And they're infectious. And
That's the thing. You can't, you couldn't leave that theatre without a smile on your
Yeah,
face.
absolutely.
Especially when they do, a few of the, those big numbers at the end. You just leave grinning from ear to ear.
It was
Absolutely.
great. And also what we didn't mention was whenever you go in, it's done up like Hill Valley. So you were really taken away by that, by the signage and, oh, wow, and not all theatres are, go into as much detail as that.
immersive.
But and you were like, oh my goodness. So that was a great experience as a fan for you going into the theatre, somewhere where you're maybe not uber excited or comfortable in, but to kind of feel like, oh, I'm in Back to the Future here.
absolutely. Walking through the door, as you say, seeing the signage that's done up as the square in Hill Valley, I was like, okay. I really appreciated that. The merchandise was top notch. It was really good. And I'm sure that's common practice in the West End, but
but sometimes it's a bit dull. Whereas they had good.
It was appropriate.
Yeah,
it was appropriate merchandise. Whether it was a key ring or a cup, it was well branded. It was well produced. The hats, everything just looked top notch. You went upstairs. I don't want to spoil the surprise for anybody who's listening that doesn't want to go. Would it be given away if I talked about?
Yeah.
There's a clock, like the clock tower, at the top of the stairs, and I thought, wow, people were getting their picture taken there, and you said you couldn't leave without a smile. People were coming in with a smile.
Yeah.
They were setting the scene perfectly for somebody to have
A really good time.
an experience.
Yeah.
Not even a good time. The show was an experience. Taking our seats, there's lighting on the left and the right hand side down towards the stage. It was done in the style of a circuit board. would you say?
Unbelievable.
And how that, whenever it touched the screen on the stage, how it then continued on. It didn't just stop. The physical lights didn't stop whenever it went digital. They were joined.
Yeah.
It was seamless.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, okay, we're in for an experience here.
Yeah.
The set design and the transitions between the set design was unparalleled. I've never seen anything like that. Now, again, admittedly, not a frequent theatre visitor, but if anything else is like that, I would be attending much more. It was seamless to the point where I even found myself out loud, audibly going, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How did that happen?
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, it had gone from one environment to something completely different, from outside to inside. I'm like, and it was believable.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, and I felt like I was watching somebody filming a movie right before my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It was cool.
So you mentioned there about outside. So one of my favourite songs, I think, from it is when George McFly is standing outside on a tree. And those that know the film, and also at the very beginning, like, you can tell that Marty knows this story of how his parents have met because it's told over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So already you know that this is a key scene.
Yeah.
And he sings
My myopia is my utopia.
It's
I would,
so
if I could play a
good.
part in that musical, we'd want to play the father. I just need to lose about 23 stone.
So a very, very distinctive look.
But myopia, I didn't get the reference until I researched it.
Mm-hmm.
So myopia is the quality of being short-sighted.
Yeah, I didn't know
realize
that either.
short-sightedness was called myopia.
No, neither did I. And then
Obviously utopia is describing that imaginary community or society or
or something that you
perfect
really
qualities,
love, something that is yours.
Yeah.
So he's looking through Lorraine Baines' window, and Marty's like, "Oh my goodness, he's a creep."
No, I think the word he uses is, "He's a pervert." It made me roar.
But that song is so good, and also it's such a contrast from how we first seen George to now. And you know, obviously he's younger; it's 30 years ago. He's only a teenager, but it's so much fun, that song. But what are your guys' utopias?
Oh, for goodness sake, you would need to have given me a bit more prior warning.
Just
Do you know that tree outside the front of the house?
Oh my God, he's a pervert.
Allegedly.
But yeah, I love that outside, and then that goes into a scene where it's all then messed up, because that should be George, who she falls in love with, but she ends up falling in love with
that's
Marty.
a really funny
and
scene.
that you were literally laughing out loud, and from that moment I 100% was able
when
to
the
relax.
mum was basically flirting with Marty, and
Yes.
yeah, that was class.
Yeah,
brilliant.
you hit on something there that you know from the start of the film. Whenever George is talking about, it's actually Lorraine talks about how she met George and that sort of thing. You know there's stories and how they go to the enchantment under the sea dance. So you know it's foreshadowing what's going to happen later on. What do you call that in the theatre? Is that a Chekhov gun or something like that? You know, where they're talking about something that they're going to come back to later on. And so it really does build that up. And then you know that he's interfered with it, which sets the whole, it's the but then moment.
Yeah.
You know, this happens, but then, and that sets the pace. It adds risk into the whole thing, which was already present, but it really does intensify it. But that, my utopia, hilarious. C wants to go inside that room, and it's Lorraine hitting on Marty. And then Calvin, yeah. And then he does the back roll.
Yeah.
He does the back roll, and then the girls come in through the window and sing. I was like, oh, this thing's lit. This thing's brilliant. That was so well done. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making me want to go back.
Well, you're just going to have to go back. You're going to take the kids next time, are you? Yeah,
we definitely
very good.
are. Did you have any more musical lyrical lingos?
I had, I think it's in Myopia, is my utopia. He sings about humble pie is my favourite dish. Humble pie is a term often used in a phrase to mean that someone is forced to swallow their pride and be humbled. Yeah, humble pie. And he kind of does that, doesn't he? George's entire life is a long line of embarrassments that he seemingly accepts and even embraces.
I know.
Yeah. Cake, you know the song Cake? That's in the town
Yes,
where they're
that's
like, it's very musical theater.
Yes.
You might not have enjoyed that.
So he's just gone back in time.
Yes, that's right. And they're like, yeah. Welcome. And it's like they're all on speed or something. Like, they sing these filtered cigarettes.
Yes.
These filtered cigarettes are new, so new. And even doctors say they're good for you.
Yeah.
And this came to my attention last year when in school, actually, when we were doing like our topics Victorians. And it came out that actually in the olden days or back in the days, like smoking was generally endorsed by doctors as being good for you. So in the 50s, just as cocaine was once used as a common ingredient in cough syrup in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
That is insane.
And I like that song actually because in case you haven't been following along, it's a good way to see, we're at a different time period.
Yeah.
We're introducing, even the way like people are sort of getting on, and Hill Valley does look a little bit different. And obviously the lady at the beginning who's like, save our clock tower, who Marty takes that piece of paper, which obviously becomes really important at the end. But and she's like young and singing about Hill Valley.
Yeah.
I just love it.
They also sing for home installations, asbestos.
Yes, asbestos, yeah.
Asbestos, yeah. And then they sing about we spray DDT on those worrisome pests. And DDT, will I try the name?
Well, go for it.
Dichloride phenyltrichloroethane.
Well done, you.
Was that not bad?
That was very good.
So that was, anyone who doesn't know, that was a chemical sprayed on walls and other surfaces to kill and repel mosquitoes and control the spread of malaria. However, DDT was outlawed in Britain in 1986, my birthday, as it was known to cause intense pollution and put endangered species as well as keystone species at high risk, putting ecosystems in danger.
Yeah.
That totally passed me by.
Well, it's in that song Big Yellow
Did it?
Taxi.
Oh, okay.
Big Yellow Taxi. It's like,
They took all the trees and
yeah.
yeah.
Trying
to remember the line that builds up it.
Big Yellow
Good
Taxi.
DDT. Yeah, and then it
Who
says,
sings that?
Counting Crows covered it.
Covered it,
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but it's
I'll have to
originally...
listen to it.
It's not Janis Joplin or something like that.
No,
or-
it wasn't
who
her.
is it?
But she goes really high at the end. But anyway, yeah, it's like, leave me the birds and the apples. You know,
Yeah,
put away
and-
your DTT. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know about any of those, but
It's also
I'm
the
kind
finisher
of...
of Jake the Snake Roberts back in the...
No way, really?
You know, DDT grabs her head and falls backwards.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Oh, is that why it's called DDT?
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely, yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You're lying to me.
No, 100%.
You've got like a smile on your face from like, is he
I'm
taking
starting
the
to doubt
mic?
myself, but yeah.
That's
it's
class.
DDT.
Right,
It's a
okay.
pesticide that was known to... I think it got into the water system or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes, but it definitely shows you that it's a different time. And then Marty's like, what is going on?
Makes you glad to be alive now,
it does,
doesn't it?
doesn't it? It does indeed.
Cocaine in your cough syrup?
And in your Coke.
In your Coke? The big cocaine? What?
That's why Coke's called Coke.
No, it's not. You couldn't get away with it, Brandon Weiss.
Yeah.
No way.
No, yes, that's why Coke is Coke.
Stop it.
Yes.
You're taking the mick.
Cocaine, yeah. Until the early 20th century.
And they still call it
Coca-Cola.
because of that. Even
It's
not like
well branded.
well, yeah. Do you have any other? My mind has been well and truly blown
Could you
this
imagine if you were on
episode.
Coca-Cola at the same time?
Yeah. Whoa.
No, I have no more musical lyrical lingos. There was nothing else I really necessarily learnt from the musical.
Did you not learn about any inventions?
No.
Because in 21st Century, another one of Doc's songs.
Doc songs are great.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
the
Doc's
way
brilliant,
Doc,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. And the way that Doc sings his songs
Mm-hmm.
are great too. And also, I love that he breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
It's
I
fab.
love that bit where Marty goes, why is it when every time you sing, girls just appear? And he's like, I don't know. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant.
Or who are the girls? I don't know. Every time I sing, they just appear.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what they do. But in 21st Century, Doc sings, flying cars and strange machines will fill up the skies. Trips to Mars will happen every day. Exercising while you're sleeping. give it a try, watch TV while inches fall away. And Doc imagines a future where one can watch TV or sleep while losing weight. These are both ideas that were pursued in the 50s into the 90s, with gym equipment that massages the body and supposedly eradicates cellulite without a person having to exercise.
I think my great aunt had one of those.
There you
Really?
go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my mum told me that her Aunt Peggy had one. It's like you stand on a plate and you put a band around the back of you, and it shakes.
But you remember there used to be one of those places in Bangor that you would have gone to and you just stood in the plates and they wobbled. And you just wobbled for half an hour.
You see it in some of that old footage, like that Pathé stuff or whatever it is, and you see the people stand there and it's like a band that goes around them and shakes the life out of them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was ever scientifically proven to do anything, but I mean, it got you out of the house.
The musical then, Aaron, did you learn anything from the musical?
He still doesn't like musical theatre.
No, I tell you what, actually, quite the opposite, actually.
Oh,
Tim.
good.
It made me appreciate, I was seeing something, I knew I was seeing something spectacular, you know, and it took me a while to digest it fully and to fully appreciate it. What I did, I think what it made me realise is watching it with an audience. Now I've been to see Back to the Future in drive-in theatres. I've been to see Back to the Future.
We've done
in the
every
cinema.
single Back to the Future experience.
I didn't realise how nerdy I was until I started this conversation. But seeing it in a theatre and hearing the jokes, there was one in particular, Marty's grandmother says, "You know, Marty, you look familiar to me. Do I know your mother?" And then he glances over towards Lorraine, who's sitting between the two of them, and the crowd started to laugh. And it made me realise there's so many funny moments in Back to the Future that whenever you're watching in the house, if you've seen it for years, you sort of not overlook them, but the thing about comedy is comedy's generally hilarious the first time you hear it, and every time after that it gets less and less funny because it's predictable. In that setting, with somebody else doing it, it's not in the usual environment, it's not the usual players, the usual actors involved, and the crowd response, I was laughing along with them. I knew what she was about to say before she said it.
Yeah.
I knew the joke. But for the first time in 20 years, it's been hilarious. You know, and I remember watching Back to the Future. It used to be on BBC at Christmas. In the early 90s, like I was no age, and I remember seeing it from then. So I've had it easily, probably for about 32 years I've been watching it.
Yeah.
And it felt renewed. It felt new.
Good.
And so, did I learn anything from... There's obviously... probably would need to go back and really study the lyrics more than I did. But I learned that there's a new appreciation for musical theatre from me, you know, for that reason.
As a fan of the film, do you feel film fans who go to see the musical, would they wouldn't be offended then? Do you think it's a fair representation? It doesn't
honours the film. It
doesn't cheapen it in any way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
good.
Not. I thought the first, as I already stated, the first couple of songs felt almost shoehorned in. But after that, no, it pays homage to the film. It respects the film. It is a fantastic tribute to the film. I was told by my good friend Paul's dad, he went to see it and he said it was brilliant, and I couldn't help but think, but that's you, this is me, you know, and you know, but I think I might like the films more than you. His dad was 100% right, and he was getting excited telling me about it. Yeah, and it actually did make me reconsider, but not enough to pay the tickets. So I'm grateful that Lauren did that. It was brilliant, Tim.
Good.
As you know, you've seen it more times.
Well, yeah, but then you do panic then, don't you? Because I really enjoyed it, but then I also didn't come to it as a fan of the film. I'd never seen the film, like I didn't know what the film was, and people have shamed me so much for not having seen the film. So then you do panic, don't you?
Yeah. I think for me, as somebody who, like, I would sit down and watch Back to the Future films. I do love them. Probably not seen them as many times as Aaron has.
Probably.
But I do like it. Obviously, Aaron and I have been together 20 years, and it was one of the first things that we watched together too.
Oh, that's
so there is a connection there. So I feel like a little, like, I have a little protection over it. So but also as a musical theatre fan, I think it's one of the musicals that has been like tick all the boxes, because there's enough. This is a musical. There's enough paying homage to the original source material, as well as making it its own. And I think you could go just as a musical theatre fan and love it. You could go as a film fan and love it.
Yeah.
You could go as never experiencing anything like either of them before and enjoy it, even just from the scenery point of view. You know, I'm thinking my dad absolutely detests musicals, but
he's bound to enjoy it.
He would, for the scenery and how things are moved, the spectacle of it. He wouldn't enjoy any of the songs. None of the songs would be appealing to him. But he would enjoy, how did they do that? How did they do that? He would be watching it for that. And I think no matter what age you are, you will have a great time at Back to the Future. The
driving sequences, wow, right?
The visuals were spectacular. I could not comprehend how that was done. And to look so authentic.
And you don't want to say too much either. Because...
But I don't think I've ever seen a show that has matched the on-stage action so seamlessly to that media technology side.
I get
and that visual, you know, is it audio visual? Is that what you call it? You know, those video screens and how the two of them just were a marriage. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't now we're going to watch a video.
It wasn't even remotely jarring.
No.
It was a seamless transition between them. It was
for a very what's that word, like that part in the movie with the clock tower, which is everybody knows iconic. That they did that so well. It didn't cheapen it by going, we're gonna watch a movie here.
They put a spin on it. They did something different that you don't see in the film.
Okay.
And I loved it. I was like, okay, I like this. You know, it's one of the few things that they added in that wasn't, with the exception of all the songs and the dance. You know. But now that I look back to the Future movie, I'm thinking that the one thing it's missing is dance routines.
See, I say that about most
what are you guys doing to me? But that clock tower scene was brilliant, and it built the tension perfectly.
And then we won't say too much about it because I think it would ruin it. But you think you've seen it all, and then towards the end of Act 2, your mind is blown to another level. Is that fair to say? Like I was like already so wowed by what I had seen, and then they just went and trumped it again right towards the end. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what is left to do?
I was doubting what I was seeing. I was like, isn't that again, don't want to give anything away.
No.
But spectacular.
Yeah, go and see it.
Yeah.
Go and see it, folks.
Absolutely.
Before we went, I'd said to Lauren as we were getting ready, these are the 4 songs, and it's funny how you opened there because you're like, what songs are they? And I thought, okay, it needs to have these songs.
Yeah.
And I called them out, and all through the thing I said, we are missing one song. And the classic, I call it the classic, any sort of performance, well, that's us done, and then there's an encore, and everybody comes back out. So they're all doing their bows. And I was like, well, we'll miss one song, but 3 out of 4 isn't bad. And then the song kicked in. And it was another Huey Lewis and the News number. And I thought, this is exactly what it was missing. When I say this was high energy, high tempo, the crowd was standing, goosebumps in your arm moment, it was...
It's the only way to have ended the show.
Yeah.
Chef kiss. It was the proverbial cherry on top. It was...
But I think that's really important what you said about high energy. They had just done a full performance, and then they come out, and that is like every single character is given that full energy, and it is amazing. And like you say, you need to dance, you need to get up, you need to celebrate.
I'm quite an introvert, believe it or not, and the thought of standing up in public, even if 400 other people or whatever the capacity of that building was, are standing up and doing it, I feel really like, I'll just sit in my seat and let everybody else dance around me. I would actually do that. I'd rather sit down and just pretend I don't notice that there's, 500 or 600 people dancing around me and cheering, But I felt compelled to stand up and dance along. You hit the nail on the head there. on the pinhead, if you don't mind saying. Whenever you're saying that they've just done this show and then they stand and everybody gives it stacks at the end, the whole cast give it stacks at the end, they give it stacks. But not only that, they made it feel like they were enjoying it.
Yeah.
You got to remember, these guys have been doing this we went to see them, I think it was the last week of that.
Yeah, that was so they are Black on a Tuesday and we went on a Wednesday. So that was the start of their last week. So by the next Wednesday,
before
it was a
cast
brand
change.
new cast.
Yeah,
So
okay.
how long have they been doing that run?
A year.
So they've been doing that,
8 shows a week for a year.
8 shows a week for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm catching them at the very end of that. And I felt like it was the first time they were doing that.
That says a lot about them as performers.
They've done the exact same thing so many times, but whenever they're looking at each other and they're smiling, they're making it look like they're improvising. They had me fooled.
Yeah.
Absolutely fooled. It was brilliant.
I think a lot of thought has been put into putting together that show. Like it's bookends so brilliantly. In that we've just said about the ending, but even the opening, and you mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, Aaron, that iconic music, it gives you goosebumps as soon as it hits up at the very beginning. It's like, whoa, what?
And there's also moments as well, not just like lines or scenes or images from the film, but the way like Marty talks. You know, that is Michael J. Fox, but the fact that, yes, the Marty was, but he wasn't trying to impersonate Michael J. Fox. He just had little tiny hints to him, and the same with the guy playing George McFly. He just had little hints to the way that actor, Chris, what's his name? Sorry, Chris Clevin? No,
Crispin Glover.
Yeah, how he, that's a very distinctive voice, but again, he wasn't trying to imitate them. It was just wee nods to, we appreciate the source material, we're going to pay homage to it, but we're also going to make this new. And I loved it. I loved it.
I think I could cope with the guy playing Doc not sounding like Christopher Lloyd from the movie. That didn't feel jarring. But I think if the actor, forgive me, I can't remember who we saw, playing Marty, if he didn't sound like Marty, I would have found that more jarring. If that makes sense. But as you say, he had those subtleties down. He had, that sort of that whiny, Michael J. Fox, I don't want to say whiny, but it's sort of like, Doc!
But it's teenager voice as well,
And he nailed it, and he had the swagger about it whilst making it his own. Sound like an X Factor quote, but you know what I mean? He made it, he brought his own personality to it.
Yeah.
And,
so, we always do connections, so obviously we've done that, but what are your standing ovations? Then is there any song that you're actually, that was class, I love it, or any one key moment? I know we sort of spoke about a few there, but if you had to give a standing ovation to one section, what would you give it to?
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to say the end.
Okay.
Because it quite literally was a standing ovation, and it was done, again, such high energy. There's so many moments on it where I was getting goosebumps going, you talked about Earth Angel, that moment where Marty springs back up, and the family, everything's good again, and how they showed the picture on the screen. That was so well done that gave me goosebumps. But as far as your standing ovation, to use the musical lyrical lingo term, it quite literally was a standing ovation at the end, and I felt compelled to stand with everybody else there and just
that's cool.
And just give gratitude for
what about you for the musical, Mr. Four Times?
I think it's really hard to have a single stand ovation, to be honest. I think, and I think we touched on it. As a musical goes, it has all of the ingredients that I look for in a musical. It's got the comedy. Yep. It's tightly put together. At no point did I feel it any part ever dragged or was boring. It just went at such a lick. Good songs, in my opinion, and that up tempo, leaving the theatre smiling. I would like to mention, because I thought they were so different to all the other numbers in the show. I thought in a musical like that, to have like such tender heart, you know, the feels, you know, of the songs Future Boy and For the Dreamers.
For the Dreamer.
I thought both of those, like, very ballady, like, calm in comparison to what all the other music was like. They were really, they kind of hit you, like they were really beautiful. And actually for Doc, you know, who was all, you know, the majority of the show is like Doc is like, wow, you know,
and he's got these dancers behind him. And
all his other numbers were like, yeah, look at me. Do you know what I mean? To then sing, you know, this one's for the Dreamers. And we're going, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful.
It was.
Such a beautiful song.
Really was. And as you say, it added a new dimension to Doc. And I think it actually added more of a
heart.
Yeah, more heart to it, where I actually preferred the Doc in the musical to the Doc in the film then because of that song. Because I was like, that's all scientists are. They're just trying for that. They're just discovering, constantly discovering. And he is like, I have to do this for all those ones that have gone before me and haven't succeeded.
There's a vulnerability there.
That's it.
Like,
that's it.
Or an insecurity or something like that. But even from the songs when we talked about Newton, things like that. And I don't know if you noticed in his room, the pictures are of the scientists.
Yeah.
In the background, which is the same in the film. And it's just, he obviously aspires to be up there and, you know, to be considered one of the greats. And that one is actually, I completely forgot about that one. That's a great wee tune. And I think if everything's so fast paced and if the musical just chugs along at 88 miles an hour the whole time, you sort of burn out a wee bit and you're sort of going, it's going, you need those ones just to, it has to be, for the climax at the end to work, it has to be a gradual build, but you can't just, you have to have a few, you know, false climaxes, you know, to build up to that apex moment at the end. And I did it spectacularally, and you're writing, you know, those songs.
Yeah. Well, my three are my myopia. I love it. Put your mind to it, because I love that is such a cute moment between Marty and his dad. Yeah. And I love whenever George goes, "Who's Dick Jagger?" You know, and just you know, put your hand in your pocket, you dance, and it's just brilliant. And the choreography in that was fab. But my number one standing, apart from, sorry, I have four, because for the Dreamers as well, but is something about that boy, that cafeteria.
Yes.
Where Biff is after him, Lorraine's after him. He's trying to get away. He's trying to find George to go and find Lorraine.
The spaghetti,
which is all again key moment. No, it's not spaghetti. It's obviously a dump truck, isn't that right? Or like
It's
manure.
It's manure truck.
Okay. In the film,
but oh my goodness, it was
well done how they did
fantastic.
The choreography was insane.
Fantastic. So I think if I had to, I would say that would be my standing ovation.
But that speaks volumes for the show, because here's three people and basically we all kind of had different standing ovations.
Yeah.
Whilst agreeing at the same time that the other ones are completely valid.
Yeah.
Yep, completely agree. You know, nobody's saying something going, really? You picked that song?
Yeah.
You picked that moment?
I mean, we've bigged this musical up so much. I feel they should be giving us tickets to go back.
Oh my gosh.
Let's hope they hear this podcast.
If you want me to play Doc, I don't often put these things out there, but you know.
I'm going to go on my crash diet so I can play George McFly.
And I'll be Lorraine, all right.
Because I also love at the end when he gets dead cool, like George McFly ends up being a real cool dude. Like,
He's pretty flat then.
Love it.
Brilliant.
No, I definitely encourage anybody out there to go and see it. I think the creative team have done a wonderful job. And it's a real fun, feel good. Either go see it by yourself, go see it with friends, go see it with family members, or just go see it.
Yeah, do go. I mean, I've seen it 4 times. So
I know.
When will the 5th be? I wouldn't put it past me. Do you know what I mean? Like, normally if you've seen something for 4 times, you go, oh, I've done my time. I've seen it. But I'll definitely see it again at some point. And
I wonder, will it go on a UK tour? I wonder, are there enough venues that would be able to?
Oh, I would think surely Back to the Future fans across across those.
I just mean, like,
venues.
would they be able to do everything to the standard that it's in? Because Adelphi's not a
Do you
massive
know what it is?
theatre.
It's whether they can financially, because that's not going to be not going to be a cheap show to tour. So they're going to have to get the ticket sales. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even be surprised. It would remind me of the type of UK tour that would need to go to venues for a fortnight rather than I couldn't see it going, round the regional theatres and just doing a week at each venue. Like, I think it would need to have slightly longer stints for it financially to work and be viable.
It's just been renewed for the Adelphi again for another year. So
it is not going anywhere
No,
in
I don't
London.
think
like,
it's going. I really don't think it's
good,
going.
because I need to go back 5th time.
Well, we're definitely going back in 2025 because we've got Hercules, which is 2025.
Bless my soul, Hercules on a roll.
So, I mean, maybe just another wee Back to the Future musical will be
definitely
watched then. Yeah, that was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Do you feel you offloaded enough about the musical?
I mean, we're easily an hour deep in this. I could go for another hour.
Like, Aaron, I have been so good not to ask you anything about it until now.
I know.
I have been living in fear for the last month, going, did I like it or did I not? So I'm glad you did.
I know we've actually been avoiding that conversation.
Yeah.
We've been dodging that one.
Completely. Oh, no, I'm delighted. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And you weren't disappointed. There is nothing worse. Think of all those poor Lord of the Ring fans when they saw the Lord of the Ring musical. Like, they were devastated.
One was okay. The updated
Was
one's
it?
been as... Yeah, but yes, I agree with you. That.
Well, I think we should all just go and book our tickets to go and see Back to the Future again.
And if you book it, let us know and we'll tag along.
And please do come to our future episodes next week. That was the worst.
That was a little bit cheesy. There was a turbo booster moment there.
Yeah. Flux capacitor. What is the flux capacitor again? That thing that they put in?
Yeah,
they put into the car.
The like Y shape.
Aye, that's the one.
Yeah, it's more upside down, isn't it?
I'm still learning after 4 visits.
It's the thing that makes time travel possible.
In all time travel, or just
No,
that?
Back to the Future, no doc.
Just Back to the Future.
Fell off and bumped his head and came up with this concept, and
that's it. The rest is history.
oh.
We'll have to leave it there. Till next week.
Bye.
Bye.